All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. I have Scribe with us. I have Aaron and I have Brian with us. They are with us from Scribe. Why do I want to have them on the call today? I want to provide value to you guys, and it works. So I've seen a lot of handwritten note techniques in companies. This one is different. One of the reasons why I personally like it, get right to it, is I like when you send out a mailer to a neighborhood. Let's say it's Bluebell Country Club. It will actually say, Street A, Street B, Street C. I have a buyer looking on Street A. I have a buyer looking on Street B, Street C. It actually auto adjusts. The normal ones I've seen in the past says, hey, I'm looking for a buyer. I have a buyer looking for a house in Bluebell Country Club. Very generic. This gets so specific, it's very hard to figure out that it's not a person handwriting it. Second, I like their pricing. And third, I like their customer service and talking to these guys. They get it. So I'll give you one testimonial before we get started. Amy spent between $1,000 and $2,000. She has $27,000 in listing commission opportunities off of this company. My wife and I signed up for it, and many others are signing up for it. So with that being said, thank you for being with us today, Aaron and Brian. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good, good. So I want them to today to show you guys what's their handwritten note service that they can provide to you guys to help your buyers find an opportunity in a neighborhood they want. Or two, if you're trying to find a listing in a particular neighborhood, I recommend Scribe. So Aaron, Brian, can you tell us what you guys do differently and how Scribe works?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things that are different about the service that we offer. The first thing is we actually use real big pens. There is no printing part of this process, as you've probably seen in other mailers you've gotten in your mailbox. These are actual pens. So when you open up our letters and you were to actually feel them, you can feel the handwriting. So that is going to be the single biggest difference. And I'll let Brian go a little bit more into some of the other ones. The next component that's going to be a big difference is going to be working with somebody like myself that actually helps you write some of that copy. The majority of our business has been working with real estate, both commercial and residential. That said, we do offer tracking within our various copies. That allows us to settle for great and not good. A lot of times you can send out a campaign and you're super happy with the results, but you may have actually left money on the table. So when we test A/B various copies, we have learned over time what really works. And it's actually quite interesting. The same message works really well across the country. And we do share that message depending on what your end goal is of your campaign. As Jeremy mentioned, we like to pull out and be very property specific within streets, areas, even individual homes based on whatever parameters you may be sorting through, whether you have a client who's looking for a 4-bedroom house with a pool, or you're going from a much broader perspective and you're looking for just new listings. Brian, would you care to share a little bit of additional information on what sets Scribe apart?
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple things that we really do that really set us apart from just kind of any other mailing service or just the flyers that are sent out, right? Number one, and the biggest thing that we've seen across just direct mail in general is Erin and our team do a lot of work around with the USPS. So this gives us the ability to have it not get postmarked where we do our operations. Okay, our operations are not there in Philadelphia, but we don't want it to give any of your prospects or any of these people that you're reaching out to any inkling that you could potentially be from, or we're sending these from out of state. Okay, so we want to make it look and feel like it is coming from a localized office, and that's one of the big things our team does. Also, one of the big things that, and actually funny enough, when we write and send out these letters, we omit a return address. Okay. And just think of it this way. When you get a piece of mail where do your eyes initially go before you even take it into your house? It's to that return address. And if we don't recognize the name or the company or the address, you're less likely to open it. So the work our team does is to ensure that we have no non-deliverable addresses within your mailers, and we're making sure these are getting delivered to who they're intended to go to. So that way, also, the people who are receiving it, these prospects, feel really confident that somebody knows their address, knows they're there, and they want to send a direct letter to them. So it feels very personalized.
The other thing I noticed with you guys was I know the services you use, some of them. I've tried doing it. I've been doing this for 20 years and bought a lot of real estate investment deals and have found a lot of listings and buyers for people over the years. It's a pain in the butt, the back end, to do this on your own. So when I got off the phone with Aaron and Tandra, my wife, and we were talking about what neighborhood we wanted, just to get the data right in Bluebell Country Club, I would have probably broke my computer. And I know the service you use. I've used it before. I mean, you have 3 services you use. The fact that Aaron sat on that screen and showed us, she picked it. And that's the other thing I liked about everybody watching this. There's a couple ways to teach and be a leader in life. 1 is do it for them. 2, show them how to do it. Or 3, provide a service. Mm-hmm. 3rd, I like this one. We're actually providing a service and they'll actually do it for us and not put a whole bunch of work on us. So I like the fact that Aaron was able to actually help us stream down that list to get it to the bedrooms we wanted, the bathrooms we wanted, and the neighborhood we wanted. If it wasn't for her, we would have been sending it to other neighborhoods. Even though on the system it looked like it, her expertise helped funnel down that data. So to me, that was huge. Can you guys show them real quick, like how it works?
Yeah, let me share my screen, and there are a couple of things that we have here, and I can send this over to you after the call to share with your team as well. One is this video of our actual process. I'll share that afterward. Property Radar is actually what we used for yours and Tandra's campaign into the country club neighborhoods. This is a great platform. We can search by map. I can pull down to detail that is, 3 houses on the odd side of the street. If traffic is too heavy in an area, we can avoid very specific roads. It's pretty detailed. We can do much larger areas. We can search by county, state. We can even go in and, for example, in an area like this, you can tell by the rooftops when you have commercial buildings, when you have apartment complexes, and when you have single family residences. And so what that means is if you have clients who are looking in a very specific area like this, we can simply come in and highlight just this area and pull just these homes, for example, here, and that becomes part of your list on file. I also have another platform here, which Nancy and Sarah from your team have used. This gets down into demographics. Mm-hmm. So if we wanted to sort and filter, let's say by empty nesters, what are some details that may be, describing an empty nester? Maybe they're 50 or 55 or 60 years plus. Maybe they have children, but the children are no longer present in the home. Maybe they have children and their age is 16 plus. They have 5 bedrooms in the home. These are all ways to target people based on a specific demographic that may not be necessarily message specific. You use the same message, but you're just going after a different audience that you think may be more likely to list a home. We can do master up, master down. As your knees get older, you don't want to go upstairs. You start to go after people based on that in their current home. lots of different ways that you can go about creating your list, or you can use your same farm repeatedly. It just really depends on what your end goals are.
So when you guys do this data, do you find the realtor up front has a specific area, and then your job is to define it, even better within this data? And then after you do that, you give it back to us, or you send out the direct mail? Take us through the next steps. I know what it is, but I'm just trying to do the video with us. What
Yeah.
happens after this part?
Yeah, absolutely. So I specifically like to talk to my clients, find out what the end goal is. And the one thing I always remind people is don't be too narrow minded. So I like to pull a little bit broader list and then start to narrow it down with you based on what, again, that end goal is. And everybody's got a different end goal, right? I pull the list, I export it, I upload it to our shared document that we're building your project or campaign on. And then you have the opportunity to go through that list. I always want you to make sure, these programs, we have the best of intentions when we export a list, but sometimes we miss a little bit. That's normal. You might have gone one road over. I'm here in Charleston, South Carolina. I'm not up there in Pennsylvania. So I need your assistance to make sure that we don't have some of those addresses. Amy, for example, knows that some of the addresses we pulled were on a super busy road, and those would be extremely hard homes to market. So she actually went in and just simply deleted them off. You may know that you have sold 10 homes in an area, and you don't want to reach out to those people saying, hey, do you want to sell your house again? Because those are already clients of yours. Delete those off. You may not want to include other realtors in your mailer, and you recognize some of those names. Take them off. It's as much as you want to edit your list, I love having input and having you do that. You could also say, hey, Aaron, looks good. I was on the call, and we send it out.
Last question. What's the return? What's the cost? So, hey, what's my investment and what's the normal return? I know you can't guarantee it, but
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a couple different parameters around that. The more letters you buy, the lower the cost of the letter. The starting campaign is 1,000 letters at $199 a letter. So it's just under $2,000 for a campaign. We have to mail in batches of 500. The reason for that is we meet the minimum threshold for being able to use USPS pre-sort, the NCOA system. That allows us, one, to get that discount on postage, two, to make sure that it is postmarked out of the Philly office or your local office rather than Minnesota, because we don't want those personalized letters looking like they're coming from Minnesota. And then finally, that allows us to have just a large enough batch to be able to test your copy. So what I mean by that is we could include two different kinds of soft messaging. We want to talk to people like you've bumped into them, in the local coffee shop or out walking your dog. It's important to be really relatable in these notes. They are more expensive than a postcard, so don't go and ruin the inside with a serious marketing message. And then, next steps are moving forward once we have your approval with production. It's a very simple process.
And Amy's, I gave an example. She spent $2,000, got that. What do you normally see people return? If they spend $2,000, are they getting the $2,000 back? They make them $4,000, $10,000. What do you see?
Apologies. Okay. Yep. So the return is going to be, I would say on average, marketing plans, depending on how you set them out, we like to make an ask. If you have no call to action, it's a very, very soft mailer. Your response rates will be lower. Typically, we see a 2 to 6% increase based on a typical mailer that you would put out there, right? So if you're getting a 0.5% response rate from a postcard, you might get closer to a 3 or a 4% response rate from a handwritten note. Depending on the area and the call to action, Amy, I think, got 2 listings from her first 1,000. I will tell you that is not uncommon. Now, if you are targeting a super exclusive area where you know people almost never sell their homes, this mailer is not gonna like it's not gonna be a wonder mailer and do something totally crazy and get you two listings in a neighborhood where nobody ever moves. But it will absolutely, if you are targeting the average neighborhood, you will get significant amount of outreach. It's all based on percentages, you know, if you're generating to $750,000 listings at a 3% return, I'd say that's pretty good for $2,000 spend.
Mhm.
I like it. I like it. So guys, next step will be is if you guys have any more information or questions regarding Scribe, we'll put it in the email when we send this out. And looking forward to having you guys work with Scribe, finding opportunities for your clients, for yourself. And I just want to tell you guys, thank you, Aaron and Brian, for spending some time with us today and describing what you guys have to offer.
Absolutely. Thanks for the
Thank you.
opportunity.
All right, bye guys.
Bye-bye.